Welcome to the Fort Johnson podcast. In this special episode, we'll be discussing Social Work Month, which takes place in March every year. It's a time to celebrate and recognize the incredible contributions of social workers. The theme for Social Work Month 2024 is Empowering Social Workers. This theme highlights the importance of empowering social workers in their practice and the impact they have on individuals, families, and communities. During this month, we encourage everyone to take the time to learn more about social work and its positive contributions. This is also a great opportunity to recognize and appreciate all the social workers in your life. Let's get started. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you are watching or tuning into our podcast. I am Jeff England from the Fort Johnson Public Affairs Office. We're in the Fort Johnson podcast studio, and today with me I have a very special guest, and that special guest is Captain Scott Saucer. He is a licensed clinical social worker from BJAC, Bain Jones Army Community Hospital. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right, sir. Thank you very much for having me.
I am so glad you came in. I really appreciate everything that you guys do over at BJAC, all aspects of it, from surgeons to the primary care physicians, but a little known fact or a little known nook over there is the licensed clinical social worker, and that's what you are, right?
Yes, sir, it is. Again, we have two clinics. Well, we really have four clinics, but we're located in two different locations. We have the 6th floor at Bain Jones Army Community Hospital, and that's where our CAFBIZ, or Children and Family Behavioral Health Services, work. We have our behavioral health clinic, our multi-D clinic that provides services for the other units located on Fort Johnson that aren't attached to 310, 10th Mountain. And we have our family advocacy program up there on the treatment side. And then the clinic where I work at is the embedded behavioral health clinic, actually over in the 310 footprint, and we provide services for the 7 battalions and the brigade headquarters within 310.
That seems like an awful lot of work to be doing over there. I mean, do you have a big enough crew over there to hang out?
We do, and they're the greatest crew, the greatest staff anybody could ask for.
That's great. And how many licensed clinical I say that over and over. The LCSW, a licensed clinical social worker, it takes a specific rating and licensing. What does it take to be a licensed clinical social worker?
First, you have to obtain your Master's of Social Work from an accredited university. Accredited through some accrediting entity throughout the United States. After that, depending on the state, again, I always say I talk what I know, and that's my state. I am from Florida.
Yeah, you sounded like you're from Florida.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Destin's a very nice town.
Yeah, I was stationed not far from Destin, maybe a couple hours, if at that. I was in South Central Georgia at Moody, and that was my very first Air Force assignment, and I didn't realize how much there was to do in that area, and I kind of wasted my time there. If I went back, I would be doing a lot different.
Well, Moody is the best kept secret, in my very humble opinion, in the military in the southeastern United States, to your point. It's 2 hours from everywhere. But to go back to the question.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, that's fine. That's fine. No, that's fine. It's always good to kind of mix it up. To go back to your original question, sir, you obtain your MSW, then you go into a licensure, or what is in the state of Florida is called a registered intern, and you have to do 2 years. Even if you pass your test before you complete your supervision, you still have to complete the 2 years. Then you apply for licensure. Other states do require multiple tests. I know for Texas and here in Louisiana, you have to take the state test as well as the national test. And then once you do that, you receive your state license, and you are a licensed clinical social worker.
That is so cool. The passing or getting your license clinical social worker is a lot like passing the bar. It's different in every state, but as a military officer, you're good throughout the United States on military installations.
As long as I am on a military or government property, I am. I don't have to, my license doesn't have to what I call state hop. It doesn't have to do that.
Nice. And as a you're on the hospital side or the treatment side. So what would you say is your normal day, your normal routine? What would you normally take care of as a social worker?
Well, being the clinic chief, my day-to-day would be slightly different. I would see the patients on my schedule that day, and then I would do other clinic or administrative tasks or duties that would need to be completed that day. When I was a provider, I would typically get to work between 6:45, 7. You start prepping, you would pull up your schedule in the electronic health records, you would review the patients, so that way you would kind of remember what you spoke about last time and pick up there, because you want each session to build. And then you would document, you would complete your documentation, you would have your clinic meetings, and then you go home.
Yeah, they say the work's not done until the paperwork's through.
That's absolutely true. Being a social worker is like a lot of other jobs in the Army. And what's the old saying? If it ain't documented, it didn't happen.
It didn't happen.
That's absolutely correct.
That's why we always leave an email trail.
Oh, we don't have to talk about emails, Jeff. We're gonna skip over the emails.
So I forgot. I lost my train of thought. Anyway, so when you're in there counseling people, on a scale, if you were to put like a hierarchy of like psychology, because it sounds to me like social work sounds a lot like psychology in counseling and stuff like that. So on a hierarchy, where would you put social worker? Because I know they're in the top 3. So I mean, like a psychiatrist would be like the doctorate, and then it would be the other 3, or so the main 3. So
the top 3 in any mental health, number 1 is psychiatrist. Your docs will make your clinic. They just absolutely will. A good psychiatrist I call them the ultimate erasers, because no matter what mistakes are made at any level prior to the patient arriving in your clinic, if you have a good psychiatrist, it can erase all the mistakes. Below them, you would then utilize your clinical psychologist. They're really the ultimate utility player, if you will. They can do counseling. They can test. They can score their own test and give you, based off their science, hey, this is what we think is going on. And then you have your social workers, your LMFTs, or licensed marriage family therapists, your, depending on the state, LPC or LMHC. And those are the ones that provide more of the face-to-face counseling.
All kinds of letters in there, man.
Okay, we're the alphabet. That's my nickname with my buddies, the alphabet.
That's like, it's just the more education you get, the more letters you get behind your name. PhD, MCA, and
YMCA.
YMCA, there we go. That's the best one. So do you have, I know about the doctor-patient privilege, and that extends to social workers too, right?
So social work we are mandated court reporters.
And what's exactly a mandated?
Okay. So a mandated court reporter, again, I talk from where I'm from. So in Florida. So Jeff, if you come in and you tell me you are abusing, neglecting, exploiting someone under the age of 17 who has not graduated high school, or under the age of 18, or someone over the age of 63 in the state of Florida, because over 63, you're classified as elderly. State of Florida at 18, if you're under 18, you're an adult. But in Florida at 17, if you graduated high school, they can try you as an adult. That's why I threw that in there. So basically anybody abusing, exploiting, neglecting the elderly or a child, we would then have to report that to the reporting authority, to the proper reporting authority.
Now, from what I've, my wife is a licensed clinical social worker, and she used to work here on Fort Johnson with at ACS on the prevention and education side. So apparently there's 2 different sides of the house. So there's, once again, I lost my train of thought. Maybe I should go see somebody about that. So we've got a bunch of help here on Fort Johnson on both sides. One is the education and prevention would be before anything happens, and it's easiest to fight anything with knowledge. So the more knowledge, the more training you have, the less likely anything's going to happen. But if something does happen, then they come over and see you.
That's correct. Ultimately, within what I call helping profession, any helping profession, you want to head stuff off at the pass before it becomes reality. But no, what you said was spot on. Hey, we're gonna refer you over to the prevention side, and then if the issue continues or you've already experienced whatever issue that you're reporting, that's when yes, you would come to us for the treatment side.
Now there are hotlines for people that need help. There's a Hope line, which is 531 HOPE, 337-531 HOPE HOPE. Then there's the abuse hotline. So there's a hotline. I don't know that number off the top. I know Hope line. That one's easy. So, but that's to report suspected child abuse, neglect, or in domestic abuse.
No, that's correct. What I remind people of too is, we're not Columbos. We're not Magnum PIs. We are not investigators. We simply, as mandated court reporters, will take the information given to us based off what our reporting criteria is and then report that up. So what I always remind people is, and I've talked to several people working throughout the different places and agencies I've worked. Hey, if they're making that report, it's because of something you said. I always like to remind people. Because again, one of the negative connotations of social work is, well, the social worker took my child, or the social worker did A, B, and C.
Yeah, but the social workers don't take children.
They don't. That's a legal process. What I also advise and educate people on is we're just stewards of the legal process. We don't actually decide. That's a judge.
Yeah, I've never heard of a social worker coming in and taking a child.
But we do get
the courtyard. The courts system.
Absolutely, but that's kind of one of those, what you've heard of the Mandela effect. That's very similar. Well, a social worker took my kid. No, ma'am, no, sir, we didn't.
The social work month of March, and we're halfway through, or we're almost through March. And have you seen the empowerment given to you? Have things been empowering to you lately?
Absolutely. If you work in this business long enough, and I'm coming up on 9 years, it'll actually be 9 years in August. Everybody's got a patient, whether they see them daily, weekly, monthly, or within the last year, that really reminds you of, hey, this is why I became this. I don't know if I shared this with you off camera. Mine was, I had a young lady, and she was struggling with abuse, with substance abuse, and we had been, really, really advising her and educating her on the benefits of inpatient. And she fought, and finally, after a couple months of really, really, educating her on the benefits, she said, "Okay, I'm ready." And that's always been my patient, I guess.
Yeah, it seems like it's rock bottom is different for everybody. So I mean, and you really can't beat an addiction or change an attitude or an addiction or a habit unless you are willing to change.
Absolutely, and if I may, just kind of shifting gears, sir. Our SUD-C treatment side here for Fort Johnson, substance use disorder clinical care. The ladies and gentlemen that work in that clinic, they are just absolutely, not only do they do excellent care, they're a wealth of knowledge. That's where I get all my knowledge from.
Nice.
But no, to your point, sir, everybody's rock bottom is different. It's not just substance abuse. It's other problems or challenges that they have. And maybe somebody's been saying, hey, Jeff, I notice you drink too much water. And you're like, well, it's not a problem because you haven't hit, it's not your bottom yet. Versus Jeff.
It's a deep well.
But versus, Jeff could be like, after 2 or 3 glasses of water in the morning, maybe I do have a problem. So to your point, sir, rock bottom is different for everyone.
But in my defense, hydration is important.
Absolutely. Coffee's 50% water.
Absolutely. So we've got what opportunities do you have over at BJAC for the different offices that you have over there?
With regards to what, sir?
For treatment and help.
Okay.
Since you are on the clinical side, it's all about the help.
On the treatment side, we provide for all populations, children, family members, dependents, the active duty side. I do believe we even offer services for retirees.
Oh, wow.
So we offer that. We offer anybody with substance use, alcohol, drugs. We do offer care for that as well.
And anger issues?
Absolutely. We do that too. We do that individually. We do that in groups, a multitude of options for that.
See, I could just totally see one thing leading to another, like an anger issue that somebody's pretty much gotten under control, but you combine that with a drinking issue, and to me, alcohol usually inflates or enhances something that you would have already been doing. It just takes your inhibitions away. So, I mean, if you've got your anger under control, drinking can just bring that out and make you lose anger. So you're going to have a couple of different ones, and you offer help for things like that?
Yes, sir.
So that's very helpful. Now, if something was to happen and it got out of control, I know that there's I've heard of people getting reassigned to get away from the abuser or get away from the problem. Is that on the clinical side, or is that on the prevention side?
That would be after the fact. That would be on the clinical, the treatment side. We can certainly advocate for the patient, but ultimately that's an administrative decision, not a clinical decision.
I got you. But you would help. You would help with the information behind it and the background.
That would really depend on the patient, because in order for us to discuss with them, we would have to have a release of information to have free-flowing communication. But if the patient signs a release for that specific person, absolutely, we would advocate for our patient.
Now, how much do you know about the prevention side? I know they're on different sides of the installation. So
I know very limited. I will only speak for me. I know where they're located. I know several of the ladies and gentlemen that work in the prevention side. They're excellent. They're definitely our partners in treatment. I would just refer them to, and I know a lot of it is housed over at the ACS building on Post.
Yeah, that would be building 920.
Yes, sir.
Over here on Belle Richard, and Aida Rivera is in family advocacy program over there. And she's really, really great. And they have a lot of classes that if you go to these classes, you sign up for these classes, it's not a negative thing. It's actually looked upon as a positive because you're educating yourself, you're helping yourself, and you're making yourself a better person. It's kind of like going to college. You just get more education, and they have all kinds of classes over there, from anger management to baby massage, infant, yes, new babies, new parent support. That's the word I was looking for. You've got financial readiness, which can also be a problem, because financial problems can cause all kinds of marriage issues.
Financial stress, we're actually starting to see a lot more of that.
I could totally see that. I went and got some asparagus, and it's like $8 a bundle when it should be like $2.
Well, the other thing too is, it's the average age of a soldier has gone down since the global war on terrorism has, I won't say subsided. It is, our Army population has decreased since we have said no more.
But the workload hasn't decreased.
The workload hasn't. So you're going to get younger ladies and gentlemen, and this may be the first time they've had money. And getting anything for the first time consistently can definitely cause some challenges, create some challenges. I would definitely recommend anyone regardless of your age, regardless of your financial situation. If you feel you are not in control of your finances, absolutely seek assistance.
Yeah, that was a hard lesson learned on my part. When I first joined, I went to my follow-on training in Las Vegas.
Nice.
Yeah, it was very nice out there too. But I learned the hard way that you do not go down and gamble on the strip on payday. I had to go like half a month with absolutely no money, and from then on, it's like, nope, never again. I don't gamble with money I'm not willing to lose.
And from a marital standpoint, and this is, the research is out there. I always say do this research on your own, but money is always top one or two of the issues that marital couples report the most arguing or conflict over.
Yeah, it is stressful, especially you get to the point to where you have to decide whether to eat or pay a bill. I mean, and luckily, the single soldiers are a little better off because of the barracks, and they don't have to worry about stuff like that. But if you live off post, or if you have bills to pay, electricity, water, then groceries and gas, and there's a lot to deal with, and juggling. A lot of people are single income households. And, there's just a lot to be done. And I think the people at Financial Readiness really, learning how to create a budget, let alone stick to it, is really nice. I like to keep track of everything I spend. I know how much I'm spending a month. I know where my money's going to. I have to make sure that I have the money to pay the bills first, and then go do whatever, go buy my water and stuff like that.
And because Amazon is a real thing, money can go faster than you realize.
Yes, they can. Oh, Amazon. That truck just comes down the road and it's like, oh, no, pass my house up. No. It's like Christmas every day.
But no, we see a lot of that. And, on that note, I would add that into what we see. Typically, occupational stress is our number one challenge we see.
Deployment. I mean, we've got deployments going on all the time, whether it's to just a couple days or for months and a year. I mean, and the stress, especially of a newlywed couple or a young couple, that one side does everything and then all of a sudden they're gone.
And then that goes right to marital stress, to your point. Being the spouse of an active duty soldier, regardless of your MOS, I mean, that's a challenge in its own. Marriage already has its challenges, and now we're going to add the mother of all challenges on top of that. And then that goes, and then, probably 3 and 3A, you see a lot of loneliness. I think Fort Johnson is great. I've always said, this is not a bad duty station. I haven't had a bad experience here. I'll only speak for me. But when you come from places or these mega urban areas where as soon as you walk out of your door, there's something going on, well, that's not going to happen here. And, everybody's guilty of it. When you don't know anybody, well, I know I've got my room, I know I've got my TV, and I know I got my Xbox.
Yeah. See, I think that's one of the biggest enhancers of the loneliness and the isolation and the people that just can't stand where they are. It's because they don't get out and try to experience new things. I suffered that problem almost every installation I went to, especially in Georgia and Moody. It's just like, well, I never left town. So if it wasn't going on in town, then it was a real pain in the butt to try to go do. And, Disney was only, 2 hours, 3 hours away. And I could have been there. Savannah was 2-3 hours away. Jacksonville was like 2-3 hours away. Luckily, I did get out because I did meet friends that said, let's go. And I actually had one. I was out there just having fun. And he said in passing, hey, man, I'm going to Mardi Gras. You want to go? It's like, yeah, I'll go with you. And then I forgot about it. And then one day he showed up at my door and said, okay, let's go. I said, go where? He said, we're going to Mardi Gras. In New Orleans, that's like 5 hours away. 5 hours away, that's Dallas from here. I mean, it's like 5 hours away. And I'm sitting there, it's like, and then something finally clicked in my head. It's like, okay, let's go. And I had a great time. I won't do it again. But to me, Mardi Gras is a one-time thing. Go experience, and that's about all I want. That's all I can handle.
And bringing it all back, because I feel like everything we're talking about is kind of intertwined today. We talk empowerment and social work month. For me, empowerment doesn't involve social workers. It involves empowering our patients. To your point, when we get a lot of young soldiers come in and they say, well, I'm lonely, I do we empower them, utilize the BOSS program, utilize the buddy program. Listen, I'm from Florida and everything is outdoors, but Louisiana and Texas are right behind them as far as the outdoor opportunities, the fishing, the hiking, the hunting, whatever.
We are known as the Sportsman's Paradise.
Sportsman's Paradise with the pelican on the license plate.
Absolutely.
I'm dating myself a little bit, but that's what I remember. But no, and that's really what we do. That's really, really, in a nutshell, what we do. We empower our patients as social workers.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I say kudos to all social workers, everyone that is out there helping others. And I'd like to get everyone, I'd like to empower a social worker. I mean, the best thing I could probably do is thank them. Hey, great job. Great job, Captain. If you were to give some advice to, let's say we'll just grab some demographic. Yeah, you like that? We'll just grab some demographic. Maybe a young couple. They just got together. They just got married. It's their first time living together or living off post and stuff. What advice would you give them to make their life, their marriage, and their day-to-day things go easier?
Well, I would start, the first advice I would give would be financial.
Yeah, get a job.
Well,
no, they all have a job.
They all have a job. No, the first one would be financial. I would, and the way I would phrase it would be need versus want. Is this a need or a want? Because
that's a big one. I notice, to go off of that, it really just gets me sometimes when people say we don't have enough money for the basic necessities for food and this and that, but they've got the money for tattoos and cigarettes and all, and the vices. They've always got the money for the vices, but they don't have the money for the necessities. And I try to teach that to my stepson, that there's a difference between a want and a need. You have no needs because everything that you need is taken care of. Mm-hmm. But as an adult living out on your own, you're going to need to take care of these. And hanging out with your friends is a want, and that's a nicety. Niceties and necessities.
The other way I approach it, I was taught very early in my military career that if there's a point of failure, it's a leadership or resource problem. The way I take that if I were to advise a young couple financially, it's either a cash flow problem or it's a spending problem. So, and I'm looking at your budget and it looks like you make enough money to pay for the needs, but you're still struggling. So this must be a spending problem, and really just kind of educate them on that. That would be the first thing I would do.
Yeah, I just believe that a lot, not all, but a lot of the financial problems is a spending problem, because nobody teaches people how to spend.
Yeah, I don't think I could argue that.
No.
For probably greater than 90 to 95%. I would concur with that.
I mean, it's like, do we really need to go here or do this or buy that? Do I really need an 85-inch TV when I've got milk to buy? I mean, it would be nice. I want this nice big screen projector TV, but I can't afford it. It makes sense, though. It does. It really does. Captain, I appreciate you coming in, and I really hope you have a great March. This is your March. It's your month. The social workers, empower the social workers, empowerment. And I thank you for all the work that you do around here. And I hear that you are PCSing, or at least soon. And I wish the best of you at your next assignment.
Well, sir, I appreciate it. Thank you again for having me and just giving me the chance to talk about my profession. I do appreciate it and get some awareness out there.
Well, I hope you give a shout out to all the other social workers and let them know about our podcast, and I hope you guys out there hit that subscribe and like button, and that way we can increase the reach of our greatness, or our guests, our great guests that we have in here. Captain, thank you very much for coming in. I appreciate it, and I hope to see you again sometime.
I'd love to come back, sir, and I thank you very much again for the opportunity.
All right. I am Jeff England. You've been watching the Fort Johnson podcast. Captain Saucer, our licensed clinical social worker from BJAC. He is a great officer, and I'd like to wish him a happy social work month. And you've been watching this. Don't forget, hit subscribe, like, hit that notification button. Leave a comment down there. Let us know how we're doing. If you want to see a specific guest on here, please let us know, and we'll try to make it happen. But until then, I'm Jeff England from the Fort Johnson Public Affairs Office, and we'll be listening at you later.
That was easy.